because of reasons, I've abandoned the one project and I'm picking up the second project right now. Well, not really picking up, but working on it. In the meantime, I need to clean off my visor, and I tell you what, one of my new favorite mediums is tack cloth. Have you ever used tack cloth before? It's like cheesecloth dipped in some sort of greasy wax. Well, here's the thing. When you have your visors and such in the shop, you know, if you don't use it for a little bit, they get the, you know, dust on it, and you gotta wipe it off to see clearly. Well, the problem with shop dust where there's metalworking that happens is it's like nuclear disaster to lenses. So you can't just go wipe it off. You got to try and blow it off, which works for glass, but doesn't really work for Lexan or plastics. And it ends up just being a horrible, horrible scratch fest. So what I found is this tack cloth, you just have to just very, very lightly take it and you're not scratching it, but it's sticky, so it picks up all of the static electricity charged particles and pulls it off, and then it's clear. You can see again. And then I just have my Ziploc bag. Tack cloth is reusable. Throw it in your Ziploc bag for next use. Use it on my welding hood, use it on my instrument cluster, use it on my stereo. I use it on a lot of things. All right, so I picked up this this GearWrench 1/4-inch drive 120 XP ratchet. Look at this thing. It's so nice. It's just nice, and I love it. It's great. Once again, I'm not sponsored by GearWrench. Anyway, I'm gonna try something. I've always loved the snap-on hard plastic handles. I love the feel, love the fit. So we're gonna attempt to take this off without destroying anything, and we're gonna attempt to put this on. So, I've never done this before, we're gonna try it. First things first, I'm gonna build a tool out of this sacrificial 9/16 socket. I'm gonna cut the top out of it here so it can slide over the shaft, and then we're gonna cut a slot. And the idea being that we can then slide it over the shaft here and have maybe a handle welded on and a pounding surface, and then this can go in the vise, and then I can pound on my little sleeve and pound this off. We're gonna try it, okay? I don't know if it'll work, but we're gonna try it. Hey, real quick, let's talk about carbon content. So this is a chrome socket. High carbon. You're not supposed to use those on impact tools because chrome sockets, high carbon content, are very hard, very brittle. They are very heavy duty, but when they fail, they break. They just shatter because they're high, just some nickel in there, high carbon, high nickel, molybdenum, different things in that metal to make it stronger. So you could do a spark test to check the carbon content of a metal. For instance, see that spark pattern is like a kind of a reddish orange with single streamers that have big bursts on the end of them. If you watch it, maybe I can figure out how to do that in slow motion, but you'll see that pattern. Kind of like a sparkler, you know, for 4th of July. And then we take a low carbon, this is just exhaust tubing. Hopefully you're able to see that, a much finer grained spark profile, not the long stringers, finer sparks, not as coarse and widely dispersed as before, but mild steel. There's not much carbon in it. It's a much more basic mixture. It's much cheaper to produce. That's the difference between like a black impact socket and your regular chrome sockets, is the fact that your impact stuff, this is a much softer steel, okay? It's much more resistant to impact. It's much more forgiving. It's softer, it's more malleable, it's easier to cut, less carbon content, but it's a bit more dense and more heavy duty to handle those heavy sustained shock loads. Anyway, there's a little bit of metallurgy that you didn't ask for, but you got anyway. Ha! All right, I'm fixing on using the scariest tool that I've got, carbide. So here's what I've got so far. That's the socket that's been modified. As you can see, here's the driver, and this is going to slip on like so, somehow like that. So I need to open this up a little bit. And not only am I using a carbide on hardened chrome steel, but it's like the same size as that opening, so there's gonna be some potential binding and scariness happening in there. PPE though, I'll keep my hands bare. That way I keep it real. There we go. That should be close enough. Realistically, for all intents and purposes, I should be using a grinding attachment instead of a carbide, but I don't got one of them. I got a carbide, so that's what we got. This is actually going to work out pretty well, I think. I have a piece of angle and my piece, and it's going to go in like so I can have a poundage surface, a driving surface. So we just got to make sure we get it lined up correctly. We'll tack it in there. Alright, that dog will hunt. Alright, let's give her forward and see what happens. See how that's going to slide right over? Oh my gosh, look at that. Can you see that? It's coming right off. Oh, a bit of a problem though. Doesn't want to fit over the top of the flare, but I've got it started. So I should be able just to finish it off. It's saved. And this is quite a bit tighter. I might have to drill a relief hole for air. Making sure all my flats are lined up, because it's gonna drive me nuts if it's not. Let's see here. I think that'll do. Ouch, that didn't feel great. Well, that has stopped going on. So we're gonna take it off. Well, chip the handle a bit. That's a disappointment, but it's a tool. That's what it's for. Stand by. All right, I drilled it out a little bit wider and deeper because this doesn't go very deep. So let's try it. Huh, look at that. Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. I boogered this up. That's a bummer. But I like the way it fits. It's just little and it's snap-on and it's GearWrench. So I can feel bougie while being on a budget. Anyway, that's how I do that. I'm sure there's other ways to do it. I'm sure there's other ways to do other things, but this is how I do this particular operation. Hope you enjoyed watching.